Look at this, sharks in the Hillsborough River, and tonight we have picture proof of it.
Hundreds of baby bullsharks and blacktip. They're everywhere in here.
A girl has died after being mauled by a shark while swimming in Perth's Swan River.
Scientists have unearthed a 100-million-year-old dinosaur fossil across inland parts of Australia.
It was raining real hard and a fish hit the ground. And I said, it's raining fish.
With a diameter wider than the moon and land so exotic, Australia is also a home to many groundbreaking discoveries, whether the uncanny beings found in unexpected places or mysterious land revealing the creepy ancient truths. Get yourself ready for these bizarre discoveries made in Australia that shock the whole world. Residents of Queensland couldn't believe their eyes when a massive shark invaded their town. This shocking incident happened back in 2017 when a bull shark was found in the middle of a road. At first, people took it as a prank, but after getting closer to it, it was found lifeless. Unsure at first, but later, a flood followed by a cyclone was held responsible for its demise. Emergency workers were immediately dispatched to remove the carcass, and the residents were warned to stay away from the floodwaters to avoid any dangers. Humpback whale in river.
It has never been recorded before in Australia. Humpback whale, very huge tidal river.
Marine ecologists were blown away when they witnessed a very unexpected sight at the Carcass River. Something gigantic was seen swimming in the water. At first, they thought it was just a really big dolphin, but later they discovered that it was a humpback whale. And not just one, there were 3 of them, very far from their home. They never expected to find something like this in an Australian river. However, experts later explained that those majestic giants ended up in the river as a part of their annual migration.
Anything like this up a river in Carcass, it just completely floored me.
Snake with legs. Have a look at this snake with limbs? With a tail almost as long as its body, this weird serpent-like creature with 2 pairs of legs was found slithering in a house. The video of this unidentified creature circulated on social media until it was identified as a skink. That belongs to a scarce species of lizards and is rare to find. Raining fish. The sky typically rains water and sometimes ice or snow, but what if I told you that now it's raining fish? Yeah, that's right. A town in Australia experienced something similar to this when a large number of fish rained down from the sky. The entire road was covered with fish spread everywhere. And they were moving, meaning they were alive. Experts believe the reason behind this strange phenomenon was strong storms where water and fish were carried away before they rained from the sky. Australian unicorn. Although Australia is known for having a wide variety of unusual and fascinating wildlife, this most recent finding took the cake. I mean, it's not every day you see a unicorn, but this unicorn is actually a sheep with a horn right on its head, which is extremely rare.
I thought it might have been a joke to start with. I thought, it looks like a unicorn.
It looks very different from other sheep in the herd, where others don't even have a single horn, but this unicorn sheep has 2. Its unusual feature has gained it a huge deal of attention. What caused this strange horn is still a question, but the owner is happy to have a unique pet.
I've got it for about 6 years, and definitely the first time I've come across anything like that.
Close meteor strike. Ever wondered what a morning greeting from space would look like? It may look like this, but not always. Years back, an Australian resident was lost for words when he captured a very intimidating sight on a beach. An extremely bright light crossed the sky with the thunder sound and was assumed to be a lightning strike. Hours later, it was confirmed by meteorologists that a meteorite hit the Earth and struck an Australian beach. Well, kudos to this brave man who stood and captured the entire giant fireball hitting the calm beach. Bullshark.
Better look at us now.
Kayaking trips aren't always fun. They can sometimes turn into very unexpected encounters. This man was out fishing when he was joined by an aggressive predator.
What is going on?
A bullshark was found lurking around near his boat. The shark stayed around him for some time, even came to the surface just to give him a scare. But this shark was not in the mood to taste the homo meat that day and thankfully swam away, leaving the guy alone and untouched.
Oh, you just hit the boat. Holy shit, that's a huge shark. Look at the size of this thing.
Biggest bat.
Cool. Look at that.
If you think bats are cute, this video will change your mind. Have a look at this gigantic bat hanging upside down in the middle of what seems to be a market. The good news is that they are completely harmless to humans. They feed on fruits and nectar, and ironically, they are very important for their role in pollination. When they need some private time, they wrap their curtain-like wings around themselves. Just the thought of one of these attacks is overly terrifying.
Really cute. Oh, I love them.
Shark in shallow water. Beachgoers on Sydney Beach got more than they expected when a shark was spotted swimming and splashing in the shallow waters. However, the crowd was instructed to stay back to prevent any adverse incidents. Initially, it was believed that the shark was chasing prey, but later it was discovered to be injured and disoriented, making it unable to swim back to the water.
Move back! Leave alone!
Emergency services arrived, and after calming the shark, it was safely allowed to return to its deep waters. Pre-Incan era graves.
Found in a cemetery in Peru's north-central Uaral Valley.
Skulls, body parts, and artifacts were found in the early months of 2023, when a group of archaeologists revealed that they had discovered 30 graves from the pre-Incan era. Relics, including intact pots and urns, were also found in the cemetery. Researchers said that the grave belonged to people from different social statuses that might have lived between 1000 and 1440 CE. This discovery was considered significant as it provided insights into a culture that wasn't studied before.
The artifacts, including intact pots and urns, belong to the Janke culture.
Meteor lights.
Many saw the explosion some 3 minutes before hearing it.
Earlier this year, an extremely bright light lit up the night sky of Queensland, and people jumped out of their houses to witness a very bizarre phenomenon. Just like a gigantic shooting star, the shocking moment was captured by many onlookers who started thinking the end was near. But later it was revealed by the authorities that the blinding light was caused by a meteor when it entered the Earth's atmosphere. Fortunately, the meteor didn't cause any damage as its size was too small.
Its debris likely landing in the ocean just off the east coast.
Plesiosaur.
So this animal here that has a head with a body attached to it allows us to unravel some of that species diversity.
Last year, Australian paleontologists announced the discovery of a complete skeleton of an ancient large long-necked marine reptile in the Queensland desert that was believed to be about 100 million years old. It's very rare to find a fossil with a preserved head and body together, as these fragments are easily separated after decomposition due to the long, slender neck of the animal. Queensland Museum stated that the discovery of these marine reptiles is very common, as these animals thrived there at one time.
So these long-necked plesiosaurs were swimming around here in this outback ocean.
Great white shark. Have a look at this fearsome predator resting on an Australian coastline. This happened a few months back when beachgoers in Australia were shocked to find a great white shark that washed ashore in a very mysterious way. With its guts missing from the midsection, the formidable predator not only astonished the onlookers, but also put the experts in confusion who took the carcass for analysis. At first, fishermen were blamed for the poor condition of this marine creature, but later it was claimed that this shark might have been hunted by an orca, who, after devouring its guts, left the carcass on shore. Ancient fossils.
We don't often find fossils that have head, body, and also soft tissue preserved.
In 1997, an Australian chicken farmer accidentally discovered something on his farm that later became the talk of the town. While washing down a massive sandstone slab, he found fossils of an ancient species estimated to be 240 million years old. Older than dinosaurs, this was an amphibious sand creeper, similar to a crocodile but with smaller teeth. It's one of fewer than 10 samples ever found worldwide. The remains were donated to an Australian museum where paleontologists are studying this extinct group of animals.
It's a bit like a cross between a salamander and a crocodile.
Ocean sunfish. While on a fishing expedition at night, this group of fishermen found a very massive catch.
Sunfish! Sunfish, very big!
They were taken aback when they realized that a giant sunfish had taken the bait. It was on the surface near the boat as the hook was stuck. The entire crew got excited to see the giant fish, but not wanting to bother the fish anymore, they cut the rod and let the fish go.
Let him go! Whoa, let him go!
Jelly blob on beach. These beachgoers were astonished to see a bizarre creature washed ashore. Due to its squishy appearance, it looked like some kind of jellyfish that lacked the jellyfish's bell shape. Some thrill seekers touched the unknown and potentially toxic being. They pushed and even poked it, but it didn't seem to be moving. Many claimed it to be an extraterrestrial entity, but no one could verify what it was. Honestly, it looked like a giant blob of snot. But what this beach anomaly really was is still a mystery. Toadzilla. You might have heard about Godzilla, the giant fictional monster, but let me tell you about the new Zilla in town. A park ranger in Australia stumbled upon an enormous cane toad that weighed around 6 pounds. Breaking the record for the largest toad, it was named Toadzilla.
A toad of this size could have laid 35,000 eggs.
However, the discovery was not appreciated as cane toads are an invasive species in Australia, and a toad this big could pose many dangers. Unfortunately, the Toadzilla was euthanized to preserve the environment, and later, its body was donated to science for research purposes.
The problem with an animal that big is it changes the scope of what it can eat. It increases its prey selection.
First animals.
And it's interesting because it could breathe air through nostrils as well as gills.
New South Wales might just be the home to the first animals to walk on land, because when it was searched 34 years ago, 4,000 pristine fish fossils dating back 360 million years were discovered.
It's a fascinating discovery here in terms of the fidelity of the fossils, that is, their high quality.
Making the region Australia's most important fossil digs. The area was searched again recently, and this time the experts hope to have discovered the fossils of the very first walking fish. It's crazy how these animals who existed millions of years ago are still found and provide links to the species existing today.
We're looking at one of the richest fossil fish sites in the world. There's never been a deposit dug up like this, maybe there never will be again.
White whale washed ashore. A scene captured from a drone of a remote Australian beach baffled the experts. The grim sight was very unusual, as it showed a huge whale carcass that was completely white. At first, the experts were concerned that it was the rare male albino whale they were monitoring. However, later investigation revealed that this was a deceased young female that might have lost its pigment while being exposed to the weather. But the reason for its demise and how it ended up on the shore was not revealed. Strange sounds in Sydney. There's no shortage of strange and mysterious sounds that can be heard around the world, just like this one. 8 years ago in Sydney, a bizarre sound created chaos among citizens as it was heard in different places without any known source. Many people speculated that the sound was of the apocalyptic trumpet sound, and the end was near. Fortunately, nothing out of the ordinary happened after that freaky noise. Yet the exact origin of that strange sound is still a mystery to the world. Ancient carvings.
I had no idea. I mean, this looks totally different than on pictures.
In New South Wales, at an ancient site where the walls were covered with mysterious glyphs, that were made about 4,600 years ago. One of the carvings in particular is quite famous due to its similarity with a UFO, and hence called the UFO glyph.
Because it kind of looks like a UFO.
It definitely has the classic UFO shape.
Even after deep analysis, experts are unsure about how these mysterious carvings that have given rise to many questions and theories. How did those ancient people know about UFOs? Were the extraterrestrial beings visiting Earth all those years ago? Or was this carving just a coincidence? Can any of you explain?
That meeting and relationship was not significant, they wouldn't have carved it.
Mysterious objects washed up.
This mystery object quickly became the talk of the town.
A few months back, something really mysterious appeared up on the beach of Perth. A giant metallic shape was lying on the sand and seemed to be some sort of machinery, but no one knew for sure what it was. The story took the internet by storm, which led to people trying to figure out its identity. The authorities were called to remove the unknown giant object. After investigation, it was revealed that it was a piece of a rocket engine. As to why the rocket engine found on the beach was never exposed.
2 meters wide, it has an electrical connection on top.
Whale carcass.
Dead one like this and the one which smells. A live one would be much better.
Residents of an Australian town were puzzled to see a gruesome mess causing an awful stench.
It's in a bad state and it's very smelly.
A whale carcass washed ashore, and the decomposition of the animal was making the entire town smell disgusting. The massive body was spotted floating in the water, and after a few days, it was found rotting along the coastline. Authorities were informed about the gigantic carcass, and they immediately removed it, sending it for necropsy to find out the actual cause of its demise. Shark caught.
Shark, guys. Oh. Say hi.
A man on a Queensland beach made a very unforeseen catch when he caught a shark while fishing and managed to reel it onto the sand. It seemed quite hungry. That's why it took the bait from the fishing rod and became a catch itself.
Look at the shark, guys.
Thankfully, it was a smaller one because if there had been a larger shark, this guy would have regretted it. After taking a few pictures, the shark was released back to its watery depths.
Shark. Don't go too close. Okay.
Locust Attack.
30 to 45 centimetre of regrowth of oats, it's just completely gone.
People in Victoria were baffled when they were attacked by hundreds of thousands of deadly insects flying all over the city. Swarms of locusts covered the sky as they descended the farmlands and devoured crops and fields. People used net and other methods to capture and kill the pests, but that destructive army of invaders was impossible to control, who destroyed everything that came in their path. Although the agricultural authorities had already sprayed the insecticides, but a vast area of land was affected by the bug bombardment that was considered to be the worst locust plague in 75 years. Giant gold nugget.
There it is.
This group of gold diggers hit the jackpot when they were mining in Victoria State.
How's that, mate?
While digging through the desert, a pure gold nugget was found in its original form. The nugget weighed around 20 pounds, making it a super precious find. This was not the only one, as while digging a bit more, they found another one, bigger than the previous one, and weighed around 78 pounds. The later finding was declared as the biggest gold nugget ever found.
Look at that! That's a jackpot! Unbelievable!
That's got to be 3 kilos.
Alien-like creature. Have a look at this clip of a bug-like creature that suddenly jumped and then started to crawl across the rock. With a furry body and a tail, overall measuring no more than a few inches, this tiny creature confused the onlookers, who quickly captured the picture and posted it to get guesses about this newly discovered species. Here's a clip of another 6-legged, unidentified creature that was found by a man in his car. At first, the creature was speculated to be some extraterrestrial being, but it was later identified as a monkey slug, which is the larva of the hag moth. Alligator Invasion. Cats or dogs invading houses is pretty common, but a scary alligator entering a house is not an everyday occurrence. A man received the biggest shock of his life when an uninvited guest entered his house. The 5-foot-long sneaky reptile was believed to get inside through the doggy door. The authorities were called in to capture the intruder, and fortunately it was removed before anyone was hurt. Strange sighting. These guys were driving by the woods and noticed something very mysterious among the bushes.
The hell? What is that? What is that? What the?
Not being sure as to what that was, they slowed down to get a good look at the weird creature that, after realizing being noticed, suddenly started to run towards the car. Wanting to keep their distance, the driver rushed the car and got away. Later, he claimed it to be a Bigfoot, but I think it was some stranger wanting to scare the people driving by. What do you guys think of this bizarre sighting?
Drive, get the
Dinosaur Fossil. Australian scientists announced the discovery of one of the largest dinosaur species ever in Australia.
When I found those first pieces of bone, we had absolutely no idea about the size of the dinosaur.
The dinosaur, named Australia Titan Curapanus, roamed our planet almost 96 million years ago. The long-necked sauropod was believed to be as long as a basketball court and as tall as a 2-story building. The dinosaur-aged soils were displayed, and it was declared one of the proudest discoveries in Australia.
It's Australia's largest dinosaur species. In fact, it's the largest animal to walk outback Queensland that we've ever known.
Australia's historic shipwreck. Be it the Pacific or the Indian, the ocean depths are always filled with many mysteries. And if we talk about Australia, the oceans there are also filled with many ancient relics. And the most famous among them is this historic shipwreck. That, along with 800 other shipwrecks, was found several feet below the water's surface. Some of them disappeared during cyclones, and a few were left abandoned during war. These historic shipwrecks are preserved by the Australian government, and this place is rated by many diving enthusiasts as one of the best dives in the world. Mouse plague.
To be living every day with mice just makes you feel dirty.
In 2021, the people of a rural town in Australia were stuck in the most filthy disaster when countless mice infested the town. The creepy horde of hungry mice skittering, chewing, and breeding the farmlands of Australia were estimated to be in the millions. Brought by drought and bushfires, they were everywhere, damaging the crops, attacking the livestock, and leaving a revolting stench. The shops had run out of mouse traps and rodenticides, so people invented different tricks to get rid of their attacks and are still battling.
There's just no escaping them.
Spider Invasion. A lady returned home from a trip to Australia, and a very terrifying surprise was waiting in her daughter's room.
When you go in your daughter's room, she says, "Mom, you've got a bunch of spiders up there."
She found a swarm of leggy spiders crawling out of a roof crack and down the white walls. Spiders were common in Australia, but watching a huge army of spiders was not a common sight. The horrific pictures were shared online to seek help, and later it was confirmed that those spiders were removed. Thankfully, those crawlers were harmless, otherwise that creepy surprise must have turned into a horrifying nightmare. Another incident of spider infestation baffled residents when countless spiders swarmed the Victoria State in Australia. The reason was believed to be heavy rains. The creepy crawlers spun protective webs covering everything in sight. It looked like some Halloween decoration, but this was a real one.
Check out this spider swarm. Yes, spider swarm in Australia.
Weird snake. Australians are no strangers to snakes, but a snake like this is not an everyday sight, I'm sure. This python was found swimming in a pool and quickly grabbed the attention of the homeowner with its unusual features. Upon closer examination, its neck was found riddled with over 500 ticks. Instead of running away with a scare, the guy pulled the reptile out and took it to the vet for medication.
Please remember this. Got it.
Another 2-meter-long snake with a similar condition was found with around 30 ticks. This condition is more common among snakes than you'd think.
The infection is covering. Look at the ticks on him.
Strange kitchen creatures.
Found these on the kitchen floor this morning. One is still alive.
A woman was stunned when she found these strange bug-like creatures on her kitchen floor. With their tails wagging slowly, they almost looked like miniature versions of rats. Unsure about their exact identification, she shared the online video to seek help from netizens. But people were also not sure, as some called them orchid buds, while others suggested they might be some kind of moth. However, what these creatures exactly were is still a mystery to the world.
So we don't know if they're actually alive, we don't know if they're creatures, we don't know if they're parts of creatures. But
Shark feeding frenzy. This clip is an accurate representation of someone's misery as someone else's joy. A drone off Hervey Bay in Queensland captured a very strange view of an ecological relationship between sharks and whales. An estimated number of 50 tiger sharks was captured feeding off a humpback whale carcass that, according to rangers, might have ended up due to some natural cause. And now the massive remains were providing an ideal place for scavenging activity. Beachgoers were warned to stay away from the stranded mammal that in most cases become feeding frenzy of ocean's most ferocious predators. Croc attack.
And it gets eaten by a crocodile, 4 meters long.
A man in Queensland was enjoying his fishing when a very unusual scene unfolded in the river. After catching a meter-long baby bullshark, just when he was about to pull it out of the water, a crocodile appeared, sneaking close to his catch from a distance. It quietly swam close and suddenly pounced on the shark, swallowing it whole, and then went back underwater. It's terrifying to see these dangerous animals have their way. Millipede Invasion.
How do you get rid of these things, these little millipedes?
Animal invasion is never pleasant, and an invasion that develops into an infestation is quite the nightmare. Years back, as summer turned into autumn, Perth faced an infestation of millipedes, a species of arthropods. People and their houses were affected by the invasion. Thousands and millions of tiny creepers were found crawling and covering the entire town. The situation was getting worse as the insects were immune to insecticides. So residents were instructed to keep those guys under control by keeping their surroundings moist.
Best thing is to get rid of anything moist around the outside of your house.
Strange creature. Now take a look at this transparent creature that almost looks like a plastic object. This tiny yet odd-looking being was found in Coolum Beach while a man was enjoying his usual fishing day and thought it to be the remains of some expired fish or shrimp. But he was surprised to find the glass critter moving, a snail-like body that kept moving in and out of the shell and with black dots for eyes. Its identity is still a mystery. Let us know in the comments what you think of this weird discovery. Australia's prehistoric fossils.
Things like amphibians, giant salamander-like animals, small dinosaurs running around.
2 years back in December, during the construction work of the Brisbane Tunnel, a very unusual discovery was made. Some prehistoric fossils were unearthed that surprised the workers and geologists equally. The 200-million-year-old fossilized tree was believed to have been preserved by volcanic activity and became immersed in ash and lava, preserving it in stone. And it was believed to be the oldest object ever found on a construction site.
The rocks actually tell us that there were volcanoes erupting at this time.
Australian Megalodon. If megalodons went extinct about 2.6 million years ago, then what is this monstrous creature lying on the beach? This happened almost a decade back when Australians were left stupefied after a massive shark popped up on a beach and was assumed to be the gigantic Megalodon. Theories started circulating, with some claiming it a new shark species, while others were sure to call it an Australian Megalodon. However, experts debunked it by explaining it to be a massive great white, which might have ended up in the depths and brought to the shore by powerful waves. Dinosaur Stampede.
150 terrified dinosaurs scattered in all directions.
The Lark Quarry Conservation Park in Australia is a great attraction for dinosaur enthusiasts for preserving their footprints. These imprints leave no doubt that dinosaurs roamed Australia 95 million years ago. The fossilized marks were interpreted to be of a predator stalking its prey and causing a stampede of around 150 two-legged dinosaurs. The most amazing fact about these prints is that they were not moved and are in their original position, and the building was built around them.
Sliding on the mud and crashing into each other to reach the relative safety of the forest beyond.
Stick insect. No, this is not a stick. This is a whole insect pretending to be a stick. Amazing, right? We all know some animals have the amazing ability to camouflage and protect themselves in the wild. But I think this insect wins today. It has an ability to tuck its hind legs close to its body and close its front legs around its antenna. There's also a shot of the insect on a leaf. Its head has antenna, and when it senses danger, it closes up into a stick. Bats on old cemetery. This horrific sight is straight from a cemetery in Australia, where hundreds of bats were found hanging with the branches of the trees and graves underneath. This happened almost 3 years ago, when Queensland was overrun by an army of flying foxes, forcing people to remain locked inside their houses. However, no strict actions were taken by the authorities because, according to them, these bats were the ones suffering due to the high temperature, with no other option but to hang in there. So people were asked to take precautionary measures until the weather returned to normal for them. Queensland beach creature.
I see my line in when I noticed a log out in the ocean. It's strange.
A man was fishing at the Queensland beach when he noticed something more than just a catch. Meters away from the strange creature, he thought it was some deep sea monster, but upon closer inspection, he found it was none other than a crocodile. The snapper was estimated to be 4 meters long and swam for about 5 minutes on the shore before drifting away.
Out in the wild was amazing, you know. First time I've ever seen one out here.
Sea angel. Look at this glowy little creature swimming away in the water. This stunning video of a rare alien-like creature was captured by some divers during a sea expedition who were mesmerized to spot a sea angel, also known as the Cleon limakani. It gracefully glides around the dark ocean as the ice glows under the rays of the sun. The way it moves its wings was truly satisfying and similar to the flapping of butterfly wings. Researchers have been researching and studying the sea angel life cycles, yet there is much to explore about it. Strange rings above Australia.
I saw pictures of these spiral images. I thought to myself, there's no possible way these could be natural.
Years ago, meteorologists in Australia saw bizarre rings of glowing discs over the city of Melbourne. The pictures were captured through the satellite camera. The presence of storms and violent weather before the appearance of the rings made it even more mysterious. Experts were mystified and believed that they couldn't be natural and were a result of some dangerous weapon. But its original cause was never confirmed.
Within this sort of outer band, there was lots of little dots, speckled areas.
Scary sinkhole.
It's got bigger and bigger and bigger. When's it going to stop?
Residents of a house in Australia were shocked when they saw a gigantic sinkhole appear in their backyard. The family was worried as the hole was getting bigger with time. Everyone in the neighborhood was clueless about what had caused the sinkhole. An investigation was launched into action, but an old mine shaft was the suspected cause of a sinkhole that swallowed part of the backyard.
Identified the fact that there's a shaft put in here many, many years ago, and we've been in contact with the mines department. They're sending a team up here.
It is time for today's open discussion. In 1996, a flooded river swept 6 young sharks into the lake of a golf course. When the water had receded after the flood, the sharks were stuck in the lake with no way back to the river. Thankfully, they didn't seem to pose any danger to the people on the golf course, so authorities decided to let them live there and fed them, but not before putting warning signs all around the lake. The field became famous for its unexpected inhabitants, and they were a major attraction for tourists who wanted to see these giant marine animals up close. But it's been years since their last sighting, and it's believed that the 2022 flooding provided an opportunity for them to return home. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.